Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today I'm going to be talking to Maria Quattrone, who is ranked in the Wall Street Journal as the number 75 agent in the United States. She's also ranked the number 1 agent with RE/MAX in her state and number 17 in the entire RE/MAX global organization. She's going to be walking us through how she became a mega producing realtor, how she's growing her business right now in today's market, and breaking down some unique selling propositions that she offers, like a guaranteed sale program and an instant offer program. If you have any questions, put them in the box down below. Make sure you judo chop that like button so other people just like you can find this video. And as always, if you like money and you like real estate, hit that subscribe button because this is the show for you. Welcome to Founders Club, the show for real estate entrepreneurs. Very excited to have Maria Quattrone on the show, a top 75 real estate agent in the United States, a top global producer with RE/MAX, number 17 globally and number 1 in your state. So thank you very much for taking the time and being on with us today.
Oliver, thanks so much for having me. I look forward to talking with you today.
So I have a whole bunch of questions for you in terms of, building the business and how you're navigating today's market and all that kind of stuff. But why don't we just start with how you got in the real estate game in the first place?
Absolutely. So I entered into real estate in 2004. I was an account manager for a group of radio stations prior to that for 11 years. And I wanted the opportunity to control my destiny. And so I found out about real estate and quickly took the test and pretty much hit the ground running when I started in 2004.
That's great. And so what was walk us through the progression, right? Like what do you think it was that took you to that next level? And now what is it that makes you, such a top agent globally within RE/MAX?
So I think one of the things that took me quickly into the industry was that I was already used to door knocking, cold calling. I did all of the sales training for 11 plus years prior to being in real estate. So when I got into the real estate industry, all I really needed to learn was the right questions to ask and learning the industry itself. I already had a lot of sales skills, and I worked with business owners primarily. So it was a very different sale than just, selling somebody a house. A lot more people could qualify to be a client of ours versus very small percentage that actually purchase radio advertising. So I'd say enthusiasm was one of the things without the knowledge of the industry in the very beginning. Resilience, being resilient, consistent, enthusiastic, using my personality as humor to get me through when I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Talk to me about that sales training. What type of sales or what company was that with? And what were the lessons that you took with you that worked?
So one of the things I learned was that it's a numbers game. So I'd probably have to talk to about 100 people to get 10 appointments to close 2 sales. So I sold airtime. And I sold marketing programs tied to the airtime. So direct point of purchase, where we would direct people through radio advertising into stores to purchase a particular item to then get something free, like redeem for tickets with Disney on Ice or something like that. So all different programs like that is what I focused on. And so entering into real estate, when you're helping somebody either rent, buy, or sell, or invest in real estate, is something that's tangible. I sold something that was intangible. So you had to learn a lot of different sales skills in order to close on that business prior to real estate.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, that's got to be a much harder pitch because at least with real estate, you can sell or not sell the house. With airtime, it's like you got to sell the airtime. Then will it work or not? Will they be? I'm sure it's a lot more layers to that. But talk to me about the numbers game. So you took that in and you started just door knocking right away, and then
No. So I went into a small brokerage firm. I didn't even interview with anybody. My friend's partner a business partner they were investing in real estate, had a small brokerage company. I went there, I'd answer the phone. That property wasn't available. I was able to say, hey, that one is sold or not available anymore. And I can show you others. Would you like me to send you some other options? And
Mm.
so I would just close on the opportunity. I forgot about whatever property they asked about. It didn't matter. And my first sale I got my license in March. I closed on my first sale in the end of March to a friend. My second sale was to two doctors who invested in a 4-unit building here in Philadelphia for $1,050,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in 2004. And I didn't really know exactly 100% how what I was doing with it. But after that, I was like, okay, I can do this. This is good. So the first year I worked in radio and in real estate until February of 2005 is when I left the old industry and took my career to the next step. You got to
Yeah.
remember too, back then we had no DocuSign. Email was used, but not that great. It was still fax and crap. And you had to deliver checks. You had to deliver the agreement of sale in an envelope. So I closed from March until the end of that year, I think it was 38 sides. And I'm running around by myself. But I did, in the first 3 months, get an assistant because otherwise I would have quit the industry because paperwork is not my thing.
Yeah, good. No, that's actually also an important lesson, right? Like as you start to grow your business and get busier and busier, the first person to bring on the team is that assistant, and it can be painful at first because you're like, "Ooh, I don't know, do I want to bring on that expense?" But the amount of time that you'll save to generate more business is almost always worth it if you use that time the right way.
Absolutely. Your time should be doing only 4 things if you're an agent. You should be calling your leads and your database. You should be going on appointments, buyers and sellers, and or buyer appointments or listing appointments, and you should begin negotiating offers. There's
Right.
really nothing else that an agent should be doing other than those 4 key things. Outside of that, you can hire somebody to do the rest of it.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. So talk to me about present day. Like, how is your business set up now? You're obviously a massive producer. Is it a team setup? Is it,
So,
you and buyers agents, or how do you do it?
right, yeah, exactly. So when I entered the industry, I looked around and I said, this is the stupidest business setup I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, this is just obvious, my personal opinion. And so I always wanted everything to operate as a team, having, support staff for contracts to close, listing management, marketing, administrative support, um, and field services. So I opened up Remax at home in 2009 and had just operated with a few people, a few salespeople, and support staff. And we just, did a couple hundred units a year. And then a couple years ago, not even like year and a half ago, decided I wanted to start to grow the team rather than just be only in sales. So
Mhm.
we've been working on, growing the team, bringing new agents into the business. I'm training them from the ground up. Of course, there's high turnover with that. So good and bad of it.
Right.
But so our office, we are a Remax brokerage that operates as a team office. We got
Okay.
about, give or take, every week it changes. New people come in, people leave, especially right now and what's going on today. But we have about 15 agents and about a half a dozen or so support staff, plus a couple VAs. So that they do a lot of the heavy lifting for the agents. And we do
Mhm.
both commercial and residential real estate. So we call that resi-mercial. We work on development deals, industrial, warehouses, multifamily, mixed-use properties. So we have a wide clientele.
Mhm.
And we do that because we look at, okay, well, when residential kind of goes sideways, commercial's better or investments better. And we have a lot of investors. We have about 2,000 investors in our database. And I probably intimately know a couple hundred of them personally. So we've been able to help clients find an opportunity, turn that into either a buy and hold or a buy and flip or a ground up new construction project, or a big multifamily 50 unit building. And we'll work with them and the whole team in regards to architects, the entitlements, even helping a client get to the right banking people, as well as design services and then the repositioning or disposition of the property, whether that be an out sale or having the property that's stable, they'll stabilize it and then sell that whole parcel out to an investor.
Mm. Yeah, so a lot. Resi-mercial, I like that.
Yeah, resi commercial.
Um,
It's an unusual. I have an unusual business. A lot of people, are straight just buy, sell, but we work with very, very large clientele. I say we sell. We're in Philadelphia County, so like the average price point is probably around like in the high twos in the county, and we do deals from 25,000 for a crappy piece of land that I don't know what you could do on it to 5 million for commercial. So our sweet spot in commercial is about, between 2 and 3 million. And then we do, the regular people in Philadelphia, they live in houses between $200,000 and $400,000.
mhm.
So we don't have the California prices here, but
Yeah.
we work with regular people and we work with investors who buy a lot of real estate.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's cool. One thing I also noticed that you do that I wanted to talk to you about and kind of if you could walk us through these programs is you have a couple of unique selling propositions, one of which is your guaranteed sale program. So I'd love to have you kind of walk us through how you do that and how you market it and how the program works and all that.
Yeah, so we actually are just bringing that program back, Oliver, because prior to the current market, the last few years, things were just selling in multiple offers. So we took
Yeah,
that off the table.
right.
And basically, the guaranteed sale is about that they will agree to list at a certain price. And if it doesn't sell within a 60-day period, then we'll have, or one of our investors come and buy it. We've never actually had to buy a home because pricing is extremely important and walking the sellers through the process where we do a lot of things up front so that we're future pacing them for what the next thing is down the steps. And we're not going to take on a property that we don't think, that we can personally sell.
Right.
In some cases, we don't want to work with people, they have grandiose ideas of how things are going to be. And in this marketplace, you really have to focus on the people that have to buy or have to sell. And
Right.
so we provide, these different items that will help them get to their goal, whatever that
Mhm.
is, and in the time that they need to get there. So it's different for everybody. We have some that look, we'll come in and have an instant offer where we'll have one of our investors just come in and make them an offer, a cash offer on the property. We can do that as well. I prefer not to be the middleman and be the wholesaler in the deal. That is something that if we need to, though, that we can. I prefer in that case that we just pick up the property, which we did last year. Somebody, they didn't want to wait, and we bought the property with everything in it, and then we did some TLC on it, and it's a hold, so we're renting it out.
Cool. So yeah, so let's walk through that a little bit. Guaranteed sale. I like that. And I do agree that that's something that can be a valuable tool for agents, especially right now. Um, but when you're going to a listing appointment, how are you presenting that? Because it sounds like I'm hearing you say that the pricing is very important, which I agree with. So is that part of the terms of the deal that they have to agree to a certain price? And then what happens if they agree to that price after that?
Yeah, so if they agree to that price, and then we have specific things that they need to do in regards to certain fees, and if it doesn't sell, then we will then go ahead and take it. Either have one of our clients buy. I'm not going to take a listing that's if it's a $900,000 listing, it doesn't qualify for guaranteed sold
Okay.
because that's not our average price point. and it's only a small percentage of our population, less than 4%, that will buy a home in that price range or and up.
Right. Right.
So we know exactly what we're doing in regards to properties that we can and can't sell. So we want the people just to have ease, that we know that we can get it sold for them, and them to know that they know that we can get it sold for them. And
Yeah.
so we put it in writing saying that we will do that. And then in some cases, like I'll say, okay, well, here's a couple things that I want to get done to the house. And we might have the front door painted, or, some patchwork done for them that needs to be done. And then we always, or it might, in some cases, need a clean out. So we will get that all done for them, and then we'll put that on the settlement sheet later down the line. And so they don't have to come out of pocket with that money up front either.
Hmm. Okay. So it sounds like in the listing and presentation, you're getting them to agree to the price that you want. And is there any flexibility on that? Or are you coming in with like, this is the hard number to qualify for this program?
Well, we're already going to know an idea up front, and a lot of our appointments are done on the phone,
Okay.
not in person. We may go after they agree that they want to do this or list with us in general. We at that point will have docs sent out, and then we will then meet in person to finalize the number if we do.
Right.
And multifamily or commercial or none of that doesn't qualify. It's only like regular housing.
Gotcha. And then you're also building in those other things like you have to paint the door or fix this or that.
Well, that's
To
only if we think it's necessary,
right.
and we will talk to them about it when we see them.
Yeah.
Like, this is in order to there's a couple things that we need to tighten up. So
And then
it just varies.
you guys are fronting the cost on that and then
Well, we have
building
a
into the
staff that can do it, so it's just part of our program, our field service team.
cool field service team. I like that. Okay, cool. And then the other program, and you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, was your instant offer program, which
Right.
is, I'm guessing, just bringing an investor offer with you to a listing appointment, or are you just talking that you can get them one? How do you present that?
It depends on the circumstance for each client. So, for example, we have one right now where the client, they don't want to go to market, and no MLS or anything like that. So we get an agreement with them. It's actually not even a listing contract. It's in a commission agreement, and we bring investors to that particular property. Usually, in this case, for this particular one, it's a shell. So it's a $950,000 shell. So it doesn't need like a walkthrough. We
Mhm,
present all that information up front to the investor. And then
mhm,
if the investor wants to put the offer together, we go ahead and put the offer. And then they do, during their due diligence, they do the walkthrough of the property, etc. So that's a way that we utilize that program, so that we're not wasting any time. A lot of times we'll sell some of the multifamily properties that way as well, the larger ones. So it's like you can go ahead and put an LOI together, or we can go right to an agreement of sale, and then we'll do the due diligence after that. But because I have so many investors I work with, I'm also a member of the Building Association of Philadelphia. I actually was there this morning for a new member event.
that's
And
great.
so I have a lot of relationships, and I can make, a few phone calls and see if I can sell that piece.
Great. Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to kind of differentiate yourself. It's very easy to do is once you have a few investors that you have relationships with, you can start making a claim like that and it'll help you get more listings because you can simply say, "Hey, I can get you an all cash offer right now or we can list it at X price."
Yeah.
Right?
And we
And
use it a lot of times for people that don't want to go to the market, there's a lot of reasons why people
yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
private
And
sale, they just don't want to deal with it. That's an
it's
ideal.
these are mainly investment pieces that we do it on. We're not doing it on residential properties unless we're going to pick up the piece.
Right. Got it.
Um,
The
or if it's a,
distinction.
or if it's piece that can be a flip, then we do
Mhm.
it. I did it on property just a couple blocks away from here, where they're like, okay, listen, I don't want to go to market. You have like 2 weeks to just bring an offer on it. And we did have a contract with them. And so we had a couple clients, not even, I think maybe 3 or 4 we brought over there. It wasn't 100% a safe building, so I didn't want people, going all through it.
Hmm.
Take a look, and we were able to bring the offer to the seller, and the seller was like, "This is great. Let's go for it." So we do get up in front. We do up front get in writing though that if we don't have a contract, that we have a commission agreement always.
Mm. Yes, that's also an important distinction
So
there.
then my client who purchased that, and he knocked down the property, and now he's building a new construction property that will sell for like 1.3, something like that. And he picked up the piece for about 4.25.
Yeah. Which honestly is the other great part about working with investors, because generally if you bring them a deal, they're going to relist the deal with you when they're done with their flip or their development or whatever
Yeah,
it is that they're doing.
100%. And if they don't relist it with me, then I don't bring them any more deals.
Seems like a fair deal.
Well, that's how
um
it rolls here in Philly.
yeah, exactly. So talk to me about how you're growing your business now. What are you guys doing these days in today's market?
So in today's market, what's really important is it's talking to people. It's talking to people. It is digging into your database. It's making those calls, making more calls than you needed to. I also utilize video. I also do some. I have a PR company, so I'm in the news. I'm on TV. I'm on in the large publications here, like the Philadelphia Business Journal, the Philadelphia Inquirer. So
That's
there's a lot
great.
of credibility in earned media. So
Hmm.
people know me from, being on the news, et cetera, et cetera. And also from signs on the street. Look, there's nothing better than hundreds of signs on the street to bring authority to a
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah, most definitely. That's the best social proof you can have right there.
Absolutely. And we utilize
Um,
MailChimp as well as sending out videos and emails. We have a program where they go out depending either at least 2 times a week to the database. And so, and it also, in addition to that, we have another program that we do, and I call it DOTD, and that's called Deal of the Day. So the
okay.
deal of the day goes to our investor list. And so, like this morning, I think one of the deals that went out was a new listing that we just got for development. And so I was at this event this morning, and a big developer, he said, and we're in the process of negotiating a pretty large deal with them. He said, "Yeah, I see your stuff. It comes from Ian." I'm like, "Yeah, Ian's our inside salesperson that works directly for me." And he'll send out the emails through either Follow Up Boss or MailChimp.
Hmm.
And even if they don't want that, they'll look at the headline and see what it is and they'll click. But even
Yep.
if they don't want it, it shows them that we're doing business, that we're
Right.
selling.
Exactly.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter if it's like, okay, to your whole day database, we're doing Christmas, Santa, pictures with Santa. Well, who cares if they want the picture with Santa? But they say, oh, they're doing pictures with Santa. They tied it back to Toys for Tots,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's showing people what you're doing, regardless if they have particular interest in it or not. They know that you're involved in the community. They know that you give back to the community. We do Pi Day tied to a organization called Mana, which is a local nonprofit here that delivers meals to people who can't get out of the house, that are
That's great.
that are shut in, so to speak, or sick.
Yep.
And so they might not come by. We got 200 pies this year. They may not want the pie, but they see MQA does all this stuff in the community.
Yep.
So it's just create that top of mind awareness. When all else fails, like go to the people that you know, like, and trust. What I'm personally doing right now is having one-on-ones with people that I have done business with or look to do business with that, for example, I have been meeting this evening at our club that we belong to, and I'm bringing a developer there, and they have, I know this year, about 100 homes to sell. And
Hmm.
so it's developing those relationships. You can then go and meet with somebody and see if I can secure that business for the company. So I'm looking at like large scale, medium to large scale commercial deals, as well as finding opportunities where we can get, 10 plus more pieces of business from somebody.
Yeah, I like that. I heard a couple of really good things there. One, I heard you're making more contacts, which I think is kind of universal right now, right? When the market dips, you gotta make more contacts. I heard the different cool things you're doing to give back to the community, which I think is huge. Developing those relationships. The deal of the day email sounds great. Uh, Quick question on that: is that only your listings, or are you sending other stuff off the MLS or off market deals, or is that just a general like everything kind of email?
No, we send it for our own listings, whether they are on the market or off the market. If they're an off market deal, it will specifically say that it's an off market opportunity.
Right. Cool.
So we do both. We could send out other people's, and we have done that in the past here and there. But quite frankly, our number one thing is to focus on our sellers and to sell their listings.
Right.
So
Yeah. Totally agree.
everything we do is focused on generating listings, and then everything else is a byproduct of that.
Yeah.
So we are a listing company always first, and we get buyers organically from our listings. We don't do realtor.com, Zillow. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We focus on Google reviews, GMB, GLS, database, bringing back an expired campaign now because we have expired listings. That's how
Yeah.
I grew my business in 2007. So I guess I started in 2006. But in the last couple of years, I stepped a little bit back from selling and was working on, building this. And then I said, okay, who do people like, trust, and the most in the organization?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to me. And so I'm really good at going and finding it and bringing it in and passing the baton. And this year, I'm focusing on doing even way, way more than that than I did in the past 2 years,
Right.
and really getting back into the networking and not just going to like random networking events, very, very specific, like the BIA that I spoke
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
Okay. So that's everybody there could be a client, or they have an opportunity to introduce to a client,
Yeah.
or the one-on-one meetings where I'm specifically going to talk about what opportunities that we can work on together.
Mm.
So not wasting time going to, random things. I think you need to say no more than yes. You need to be strategic in what you want to do, because you can do anything you want. You just have to decide what it is. And understanding, that time is limited. So what things am I going to say no to so I can say yes over here? And I
Mm-hmm.
think as a real estate agent, that's a really hard thing to do for people, because a lot of time people in general are people pleasers. And so they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to help this person. But at the end of the day, we got is what is going to be best for our own business and for the company's business. And so we have to strategize and really look at how we're spending our time. And
Yeah.
that's the choice management.
Yeah, I like that. One thing I'm picking up on is that you're very clear on what you're best at and focusing more on that, which it sounds like is bringing in the business. Um, I
Yeah.
think that's a great distinction there. I also want to just piggyback on the email thing, because I think that's also huge right now. Just an easy way to be consistently in front of your database is, if you don't have a deal of the day and you don't have a ton of listings, you can use someone else's, but just get out there and at least send a weekly email to your database every week, just to
So
keep
it's
stay
really
top of it.
easy, right? You could send sales that you had, success-based marketing with a story
Yep.
1 week. You could send monthly market update another week. And I get these canned emails from people. You cannot do it canned.
No, I agree.
It
Yeah,
has to
this
be in
has to
your
be, you got
voice.
to put some love into it.
I get from this one company here. They have the same thing, and 3 people, I'm on their list, and I get the same email, and I get it from a couple lenders, the same exact thing.
Right.
So you need to be authentic. So you need a voice. So everybody should have a brand, personal brand. So you can send something about 1 week community. What's going on in your community? Everybody wants to know what's
Yeah.
happening in whatever January, ice skating here. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, what events are going on? Okay, so you can use that. Just go to, for us, it's like Visit Philadelphia. Go there, pull the events down, make a little, uh, write a little script for it. You can use Big View, pop it in Big View if you can't remember and you need to use a teleprompter. So you
Mm.
can utilize Big View for that. There's a free version. You take that, you download that, you dump it into rev.com. You're able to upload the rev.com, transcribes it for you, and you can upload that right into MailChimp, and your video. You can put that right into the MailChimp.
Yep.
And so you have your community events, your market update. You can do a success based on somebody you sold or you listed or you found them a home. You could tell the story about that family. And then the other thing you could do is anything that's going to help a buyer or seller, like home inspections, what to look out for, getting your home ready for sale, green pictures in October. What's that?
Exactly.
So get the
Just
green
anything that
pictures before
they
it's
would find valuable, I think is the moral of the story, and then doing it consistently so that you get that reputation. Because to your point, they're not all going to click it, they're not all going to open it, but just seeing that in the inbox every week or every day or every whatever the frequency is, I think the moral of the story is right now more outbound communication is the key.
And I would say video. If you can do the videos, you can take it, you can do Facebook Live, you can promote it. After that, you can download that, put it into MailChimp, you can repurpose it, you can take cuts of it.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things. There's a lot of things you can do, but I would say don't try to do all of them. Just focus on a few key things,
Keep it
because
simple.
keep it
Exactly.
simple. And I know that, it's hard to do. Look, I mean, but you have to be strategic now and you really got to focus on what activities are actually going to generate business and business that you can close.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Focus on, like you said earlier, the people that have to buy or sell, because right now that's the bread and butter. And there's still plenty of those out there. So you guys can all go out there and get them. One thing I also heard earlier was the PR thing, which I think is something that a lot of people don't do, but I'm talking to more and more people that are finding that really successful. Tell me about that. Like who do you use for that? Is that someone in-house or an agency?
No, I
And
have an
what are they doing for you?
agency. It's Media Minefield, and they're specific. Once they're in a market. They don't pick up somebody else in that marketplace. But I've been working with them since May of 2020. So
Hmm.
this is something, if you are going to do, that you must be dedicated to do it. Meaning you don't start it and then 6 months you don't see anything, you stop.
Right.
It is a long term. If you think about how long you're going to be in the real estate business, how long are you
Mm.
going to be an agent, a broker, or whatever?
Yep.
And
Long
is
time.
your career 10 more years, 20 more years, 30 more years? And you have to think about it building your brand over time.
Right.
And so over time, time's going to pass anyway. So start today and know that, it might take 3 or 6 months before you can get a piece in the media. And maybe you don't know how to speak for TV, or maybe you don't know how to do an interview. Well, they'll teach you and you'll practice. And I can tell you, if you do, I think I interviewed about 150 people for my podcast, and you get real good at interviewing people when you practice all the time. And if you do a podcast or you do Facebook Live, you'll get really good at speaking on camera. And then when you're on TV, it doesn't even feel like anything. It's just like you're
Right.
doing this right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a very good point. And then I'm guessing they're also, they're getting you news, they're getting you podcast appearances,
So,
stages.
yeah, I have somebody different for podcasts, another
Mhm.
company I use for that. Um, but they specifically, with the media company, the PR company, we focus on TV, um, radio. I've been on some radio podcasts, and then print.
Mm, yeah. And to your point, in that's the long game, if every year you get a couple of great pieces of press, all of a sudden over a 5-year period, you're in all the major publications in your area, you're on all the big, news stations, radio stations. You can put that stuff all over your website, and it builds your brand over time in a major way.
Yeah. I've gotten lately a lot. People are starting to get used to working with me, the local media. And
Hmm.
so I'm getting calls even outside of my PR company now because I'm on a list of a
Yep.
good somebody good to speak to.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the next thing I was going to say is, and then if you go there and do a good job, then all of a sudden you can be a regular contributor. You can be the go-to source for a newspaper or a magazine, and
Yeah,
that's always good for business.
absolutely. So it takes time just like anything else, and you want to stick with it and not give up on it.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. It's like farming. It's not doesn't happen overnight.
No, but there's a
Um,
lot of credibility when people say, I saw you on Channel 6.
yep.
I
Yeah.
saw you on Channel 10. I heard you
Yep.
talk about your scholarship program. We still, that was a big thing last year that they presented. And I was on 4 different TV stations with the program at
Yeah,
different at
let's talk
intervals.
about that for a second too, because I think that's something really cool that you're doing. Tell us about that scholarship
Yeah.
program.
So it's called the PA Real Estate Scholarship Program. So it's parealestatescholarship.com, and it's specifically geared towards women and minorities. And so, when I thought about it, it was one of the tools. One of the reasons was for recruiting. But then as I was thinking about it, and we were going to do it for everybody, and then I'm like, you know what? We should focus on women and minorities and make this something bigger than just a recruiting thing, and take people from other industries. In some cases, one of our agents, she was a stay-at-home mom for 25 years, and she went through the scholarship. She started with us. I think she was in the classes in June. So it was June. She's been with us since then, and she's closing she's probably at about 3 deals a month right now.
Mm. Yeah, that's huge. And then
She's originally from Korea. She moved here as a child.
it's
Another
amazing.
one of our scholarship awardees, she's from Indonesia. She's doing really well. She started with us last March.
That's wonderful.
She's doing fantastic actually, and she did a transaction in her first week after our boot camp.
That's amazing. So you're literally like helping people change their lives through real estate.
Yes. So our goal is to take people out of generational poverty and help them build generational wealth. And over the next 10 years, to help 100 people go through the program and to be within 24 months earning a 6-figure salary.
That's amazing. Good for you. Yeah, congrats on that. That's really cool. And like you said, not that this was the agenda, but that's also the type of thing that will get you a lot of press because anytime you can help people in your community, that's the type of stuff that reporters and news stations they like to talk about.
Yeah. And it really took like it on its own, I guess. it it kind of expanded, and I would say though it's not an easy thing to do. You really have to be prepared for the long haul of it because you
Mhm.
can easily get very discouraged. We gave over 100 scholarships, and only I think 10% made it all the way through and are still working.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy, but I mean, those 10, you've
80%.
probably changed their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. 80% couldn't pass the Pennsylvania exam,
Mm, yeah, which is part of it.
which is part of it. So you have to be prepared for that, and you have to know it's a long game again.
Right.
And the people that are here from that, we have a very good relationship, and
That's
they
great.
really appreciate um, what we've done, what I've done, what our staff has done and helped them with. And so you're building something a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a special way to build a business, that's for sure. Um, so just a couple questions to just kind of wrap up. What would you say is the key to an agent on how they should set up their day for success?
So your day starts the night before. So that
Mm,
depends
I
on
like
what you do the night before.
that. Okay.
So if you're out drinking and partying, tough day the next day.
That's true.
Um, so, getting good rest, setting your day up, meaning like, here's the things I'm going to do in the morning. In my case, it's like drink warm water, take my vitamins and stuff, eat a little bit of something. So I had to do that with the vitamins, drink a cup of tea. I've been kind of cooling off a little on the coffee. Get the day started, and so it depends where you are. If you're new, you probably should be role playing with a colleague, or you're practicing with a client if you're not practicing with a colleague,
Mm-hmm.
as I like to say, and then getting your day started on the phone. Phone should be first thing. We do not do appointments in the morning. We focus on making the calls, doing the follow up. And then in our case, Tuesdays we have sales meetings later in the morning. But your afternoon should be set up for showings and listing appointments. And you should leave time so you could eat something, and make sure you have time in between from appointment to appointment. That's really key, because you always want to show up early, right? And you always want to show up also open. So many times clients invite you into their home and then agents are judging them. Oh, their house, this, that. And you don't think people can feel that? You're being judged. It's body language.
Most definitely.
Right? So it's the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself. The way you shake somebody's hand, the way you look at them in the eye. Don't look like over there. So it's not so much time management, but choice management. I'm not of that thing that, oh, you got to get up at 5. I mean, I think like everybody should be out of bed by like 7 now. Maybe you want to get up at 5. Maybe that's your thing. That's not my thing. Okay. and maybe, in some cases, like usually I go to the gym a few days a week. Now lately I've not been on that schedule for a variety of reasons. Give yourself grace too. Like, don't beat yourself up because you went off of what you did for a minute. Things happen. Life happens.
Yeah.
Be flexible.
Yeah. Agreed. Definitely be flexible. So here's another question for you. What do you think it takes to be successful in today's real estate market in 60 seconds or less?
Number 1, skills. Understand the questions to ask clients. We pride ourselves on being operating like a private banking model, meaning we're consultants. So be somebody's consultant for life. Be that person that they come to, regardless if they're buying or selling something. Even if they have questions, be the one they know that they can call with a question about real estate. Do the work that's required, because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Go over and above. What do you need to get this deal done? Okay. Think about why you're doing this. Is it for, I want to get out of debt, I want to take the kids to Disney? What's the reason you're in real estate for? It's a vehicle to live the life of your dreams. So understanding what that is, and it doesn't need to be about this big why. It has to be like, I'm going to make these calls because I'm buying that new house this year, because our family's growing and we want a new home. Or I wanted to go to Europe with my husband, or whatever it is. And think about that on a daily basis and know what it is that your job is to help clients buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And don't make it something that's not. We're not $1 million listing. Okay. We're not on TV. We have to roll up our sleeves and do the work. So if I can say this, that work works. If you do the work, it'll work out.
I like that. That's a great point there at the end. So one last question that I like to ask everyone, all the successful people I get to interview, is I have 2 young boys at home, 5 and 7, and I'd be curious what your advice would be to them and the next generation on how to be successful in life and business.
Be kind. Know that you don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know what, like, they're little, right? So 5 and 7. Okay. Well, Johnny got hit in the head by Susie. Well, you didn't know that Susie's mom and dad are in the process of getting divorced. Think about that. You don't know what's going on in somebody else's world. And so treat them with kindness and treat them with respect and compassion. And know that if you do that, then that will make you feel good. That will make them feel good. And it's such a simple thing, but acts of kindness and being grateful for everything that we do have in our life. No matter how much that is or how little it is, somebody else has it way, 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 way worse. And teaching them the value of gratitude and kindness very, very early on and without judgment.
I love that. That's great advice. Thank you for that. Well, Maria, I really appreciate you coming on. For those of you that want to connect or learn more, I know you have a book coming out. Maybe tell us about that, and where people can kind of connect with you that want to learn more.
Absolutely. So it's Fearless Female Leaders or Untold Stories Revealed. It's a collaboration book. So there's many other women like myself that are in the book. It'll be coming out sometime this spring. We're just finalizing a couple more people in the book. And to find me, I'm on Instagram by Sold by MQ, or on Facebook, Maria Quattrone. You can always call me at 215-607-3535. We serve Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. And if you have a referral, we'd love that. And we'll take great, great care of your client.
Love that. Yes, definitely. And thanks again for being on. Really appreciate you. And for everyone watching and listening, as always, if you like money and you like real estate, this is the show for you. We'll see you on the next one.